Sawadee krab. Welcome to Thai Democracy with me, Pacapol Anurit. Over the next half an hour, we'll be discussing on daily issues on democracy in Thailand. First, grenade attack on democracy attack. Prakong Chupong, one of the anti-democracy protesters, was pronounced dead at Ramatapiti Hospital on Saturday morning at 1:57 a.m. after the grenade attack on Bantat Thong Road in Bangkok amongst the protesters. Now, there have been many questions raised by the public at large. Question 1. Why did Suthep change his route from Silom Road to Bantat Thong Road on that day? Now, usually Suthep announced in advance about his route where he was going to, so he can meet his fans for emotional support and some donations. But on that day, suddenly he changed to the new route. This wasn't precedented before. Question 2. Why did the bomber figure out the new route that he changed? Why indeed? Question 3. How coincident that the bomber kept his weapons in a deserted building. Now later on after the incident, some evidences, some weapons were found in a deserted building. Why? How could he know that Suthep changed the route, and why would he keep the new weapons, his weapons in the building? Question 4. How could he carry or transport such military weapons in the broad daylight or at the night time under police surveillance? Question 5. How coincident that the incident or the weapons that were found in the deserted buildings were in the distance next to a member of Democrat Party? Now, Democrat Party is quite close to the anti-democracy protesters because some politicians of the Democrat parties now joined the protesters. Question 6. How come did the soldiers find the grenade safety pin in the location of incident easily? Now, in the incident, how many people involved? About 200 people were walking or rallying. And after the incident, many people tried to find the bomb, tried to find the grenade. Nobody found anything except the soldiers who arrived at the location. And the soldier found the safety pin of the grenade bomb easily. Question 7. How come the soldiers arrived at the location before the police? Even the police station was just about 800 meters away. Question 9. Why did the anti-democracy protesters just allow the soldiers to inspect the location? Now, when such an incident occurred, it was the police force responsibility to come and inspect what happened. But for the incident, the police forces were not allowed by the protesters, but instead the protesters allowed the soldiers to inspect. Why was that? Question 10. Why was the grenade the same type as the grenade found with some protesters in Bang Na? Now Bang Na is another side of Bangkok. Now, this same type of grenade bombs were found, carried by some protesters in Bang Na Road just a few days before that. Question 11. How coincident was that the military official or the military soldier who was allowed to inspect the place was the same chief in command back 5 years ago who ordered to shoot who ordered to encircle the red shirts protesters 5 years ago. Question 12. Why was the forensic unit from the police department wasn't allowed? But it was the military force who was allowed to inspect and took the evidence. Question 13. Why did the guns were found? And what guns? What type of guns? BB guns. BB guns were found in the deserted building without any triggers. Question 15. 4 walkie-talkies were found in the deserted building. Now, 4 walkie-talkies were not tuned in the same channel for communication. Why was that? Question 16. All the evidences were found were not submitted to the police department, but instead, the protesters, the leaders of the protesters, took all the evidences and showed on the stage in front of the supporters and other protesters in the evening. Now, the climax was some footage was found. Some footage from the CCTV was found. And as you can see, so there was someone in the black suit, in the black outfit, who walked slowly amongst the protesters, and suddenly he threw the grenade bomb. Now, as you can see, how could such a person, if he is a stranger, how could he have joined the rally with many security guards with some weapons? How could he join without any suspicion, unsuspiciously, and how could he have thrown the grenade and ran away so easily? Now, with all these questions, the public at large have questions that this cannot be done by a lone man, cannot be done by a person. Would it be some mastermind behind this? And it is unlikely that the government itself would have plotted or planned on this, because it would do no good to the government except more violence and more anti-democracy. We'll see the next democracy issues after the break.